They called him a philosopher. They also called him a scientist. But in truth, Aristotle was neither. He was the bridge that united them both. In his time, the world of thought and the world of reality walked on separate paths. Philosophers gazed at the heavens, speaking of ideals, essence, and existence. Observers in the markets and by the sea recorded what they saw, without grasping its meaning. No one dared to connect the two, until a man from Stagira refused to choose sides. Aristotle believed that thinking without observing is vanity, and observing without thinking is blindness. So he created a new world, a world of knowledge born from logic and experience. On the shores of Lesbos, he examined sea creatures, dissected their bodies, searching for patterns in form, color, and motion. But at night, in a humble stone room, he wrote about cause and effect, about the essence of life, about the structure of reality. He mapped the world not through imagination, but through a system of thought that bound nature and logic into one. From his study of plants was born biology. From his questions about movement came physics. From his search for why, science itself was born. Aristotle transformed observation into understanding, and understanding into knowledge. To the world, he might have seemed just a philosopher who thought. But to history, Aristotle was the first man to prove that thinking could be an experiment. While others sought truth in the heavens, Aristotle looked down toward the earth and found the world that everyone else ignored. In his time, truth was considered divine. Philosophers raised their eyes to the stars, believing the earth was merely a shadow of some perfect world above. But Aristotle was different. He believed that the secrets of the universe were hidden right here, in the soil beneath our feet. He began to observe the movement of leaves in the wind, the path of ants, the murmur of water in a stream. He wrote not from revelation, but from facts. He saw beauty not in the heaven of ideas, but in the tangible world of sight and touch. Every small observation was a rebellion against the way his age thought. He declared, "Knowledge does not fall from the sky, it grows from the ground." With that sentence, Aristotle pulled philosophy down from the heavens and planted it firmly on earth. While the world worshipped the sky, Aristotle found paradise within reality itself. To him, man was not just a thinking spirit, but a creature of logic and flesh. Aristotle did not believe that the soul was merely trapped in a mortal body. He saw body and soul as two sides that give life to each other. From this idea, he began to study anatomy, the senses, even dreams. He asked, why do we feel? Why do we think? What makes humans different from animals? From these questions came the first foundations of biology and psychology. Aristotle did not see man as a divine mystery, but as a system that could be understood, a part of nature that obeyed the laws of logic. In everything he studied, he sought balance between flesh and mind, between emotion and reason. And slowly the world learned. To think is not to reject the body, but to let thought be born from it. Long before psychoanalysis, long before modern science, Aristotle had already mapped the human being. Not through dreams, but through reality. He had no microscope, yet his eyes were the sharpest instrument humanity ever possessed. Aristotle turned nature into a laboratory. He didn't wait for tools or technology. He used only his senses, his eyes, his mind, and his endless curiosity. On the beaches of Lesbos, he studied fish, squids, and corals. He dissected their bodies, noted their structures, compared their forms, seeking patterns within differences. He believed every living thing had a purpose, a telos, a reason for its existence. To the modern world, this may seem simple, but in his time it was revolutionary, turning wonder into research and observation into knowledge. From hands dirtied by sea mud came the first foundations of biology. For Aristotle, nature spoke not in words, but in logic. After years of observation, he realized something profound. Beneath every form and motion lies a repeating pattern. Reason. He wrote about systematic thinking, premises, conclusions, causes, effects. This was the birth of formal logic, the first in human history. Logic for him was not just a debating tool. It was the language of nature. Through logic, humans could read the laws hidden behind every phenomenon. From it arose the scientific method itself. Observation, analysis, conclusion. He taught that thinking was not about being right or wrong, but about how one reached truth through a process that could be tested. When Aristotle discovered logic, he uncovered the structure of creation itself. In an age when every answer was called the will of the gods, Aristotle dared to say, no, there is a reason. Every event in the ancient world was explained through myth. Thunder was Zeus's anger, illness a curse, fortune the work of fate. But Aristotle refused to bow. He said, If there is a divine cause, there must also be a logical one. He began to search for causes behind everything. Why stones fall, why plants grow, why humans think. From this came his theory of the four causes: material, formal, efficient, and final. With it, he rewrote how the world understood reality. Through logic, Aristotle shook the throne of the gods and replaced it with the laws of nature. For Aristotle, philosophy wasn't something to be spoken, it was something to be lived. Between his writings and his studies, he always returned to one truth: knowledge means nothing if it doesn't make life better. He taught the ethics of happiness, balance between desire and virtue. For him, wisdom was not about rejecting the world, but about living in it with awareness. Philosophy, he said, is the art of breathing with a clear mind. He didn't just shape how humans think, he shaped how humans live. He did not guess at truth, he tested it. Aristotle introduced a new way to seek knowledge, not through inspiration, but through observation. He recorded, compared, repeated. He built systems of classification for plants, animals, even celestial bodies. In every work, he emphasized one principle: true knowledge is born from experience, empiricism. He turned the world into an open laboratory, and from that moment, the world was never the same. He transformed curiosity into method. Through his hands, science took its first breath. Philosophers die, scientists die, but ideas, they live, burning through the ages. After Aristotle's death, the world changed. Empires fell, languages disappeared, manuscripts burned. But his ideas always found their way back, translated in the Islamic world, revived in Europe, reborn in the Renaissance. Modern philosophy, science, logic, biology, all of them grew from the seeds he planted. He didn't just teach his students, he taught the future of humankind. He didn't merely unite two worlds, he created a new one between them. Ages pass, languages change, but Aristotle's logic still speaks in the mind of every human being. From the modern classroom to the scientific laboratory, every time a person asks why, Aristotle's shadow appears, the quiet voice guiding reason so it doesn't lose its way. Philosophy and science may evolve, but their roots remain the same. A man from Stagira who dared to think with his eyes open. He didn't just write the history of knowledge, he became that history. As long as humanity still thinks, Aristotle will never die.